Greetings, fellow Grimdark readers and listeners. I am your host, Mr. Eccentric, and welcome back to The Truth Be Told, Part Trace, or 3 in Spanish. Now, 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 as I said before in the previous video, just to give another warning, I was kind of wrong about the strong language thing, so this is probably so far there's not really any strong language, but just in case, I'm just gonna say, warning, this is probably gonna include blood, gore, violence, or whatever you prefer, whichever you, I don't know how to say, but mild sexual themes and adult language, but so far there hasn't been any adult language, and may not be suitable for people under the age of 14 or 18. So, like in the previous video, I'll give you a few seconds to go to another video. Are they gone? Okay, I'm sorry that I have to I'm sorry that I have to keep doing that. I'm just paranoid that that a bunch of people that a 13-year-old or 12-year-old will walk into this not knowing what lies in front of them, and it's probably one of those people that don't read the description. Seriously, it's not that hard. Just scroll down, look to your left, and read what's in the description. It's not that hard. But then again, when I was younger, I didn't even read the description or the sub count. Or I just looked at the views and said, yeah, this is definitely pretty good. But without any further delay, let's do this. I've skipped it over the intro, by the way.
Discarded yet another book and looked at the clock. It was nearly 5:30.
Time to head back to the hospital.
She thought bleakly. They had been searching the library for hours, and none of the books had rendered the information they had hoped for. Behind her, Rainbow Dash sat on a literal tower of books, looming over the rest of their friends as she flipped irritably through a medical journal. Twilight might have commented on misusing books, but her frustration made her bite her tongue.
Also, I did see the pictures and the story, and it looks like things are gonna get pretty intense. Yeah, things are about to go down. Or as Swoozy said, junk is about to get raw. If only I had something to drink, then the joke would be complete.
I told you not to do that.
Frustration frosted Twilight's words.
You deserve to go split. It's useless. These books are useless. Don't snap. Don't snap. Don't snap. Snapping at her won't help anything.
Twilight brought her hook to her chest
Exactly.
and pushed it away, breathing out and imagining her negative emotions leaving her body and then outward breath, just as Cadence had taught her. When she spoke again, her words were less like metal spikes.
When she spoke again, I sound like I'm saying it like Sakura. When she spoke again. Lost Narrator 2014.
Twilight did Cadence's exercise again. It was less effective the second time. Even less the third. Her fraying nerves must have shown on her face, for Applejack chose that moment to interject.
So how are we all gonna do this visiting thing?
We go to the hospital and see Pinky, same as last time.
Rarity rolled her eyes.
Thank you for that stunning piece of repartee, Rainbow Dash. I believe Applejack was referring to the only 2 visitors at a time rule. Oh.
I don't know if that's I Am Shadow 007 doing the voice of Rarity, because I have heard her Rarity impression, and it's actually really good.
It was babyish and simplistic, but in the dark of her suggestions, the others agreed. Each wanted to be the first to get in to see Pinky, but was aware that this sentiment was shared by all. Not even Rainbow Dash could come up with a reason to shove her friends aside so she could go without looking like a total heel. Instead, Spike went to fetch a clutch of drinking straws from the kitchen. It took longer than Twilight expected, but eventually he brought them through to the circle of waiting mares.
And I get to go too this time.
He said pointedly. He had not been happy to return from the grocery run to find the library abandoned and the front door swinging on its hinges. In her haste and worry, Twilight had neglected to shut it behind her and now kept apologizing for worrying him. In the context of their lives, where being abducted from one's house by nefarious forces was an actual possibility, it
I
did
really
not
need to
do
do
leave
a try not
one's
to laugh
friends
challenge one
uninformed
day.
about crises.
Just throwing that out there.
Like,
Twilight's ears plastered themselves against her skull in embarrassment. He waved a claw.
Stop apologizing, Twilight. You were panicked, I get it. Just do that calm down thing of Cadence and think of me next time, okay?
He held out the straws.
And then,
I
Uh.
put some food coloring on the bottom. 2 are red, 2 are green, and 2 are blue. I figure we could decide which color goes first and then divide ourselves up.
good thinking.
who's doing that
Twilight.
Spike voice? It's actually a really good
That's
Spike
a lot of
impression.
conflict you're in charge of you. Applejack agreed.
You clever little.
Yeah, woohoo! Spike's a genius! Can we draw the straws and get going already?
Rainbow Dash had flown down from the top of her book mountain and now shifted from hoof to hoof in unconcealed impatience. Don't get your tail in a bunch, Rainbow. We'll get there in plenty of time, said Applejack.
How about we go red, green, and then blue? The order of the color spectrum.
Twilight suggested. She waited
So
for
far, my
Rainbow Dash
overall
to make
thoughts on this
some
fanfiction
A-type
is that
comments.
it seems to
never
balance
did.
out the
The 2 with
the
red
incredibly
straws
lighthearted
goes
moments that
first.
we're
The 2 with
from
green straws goes
Vanellope
second.
is known for, and it also but also giving us a
There it
sense of
was.
a dreaded
Thankfully,
reminder
however,
that
it was Rarity who
that
spoke.
something bad is going down.
Darling, I understand you weren't.
I'll go more in depth. I'll go more into that when we get to the last part, and I can give my full thoughts on this. Because if I can't really give my thoughts on each individual part.
Backbiting each other because it doesn't.
A lock of mane fell into her eyes with the force of a reflection. Rainbow Dash lowered her eyes and then her head.
Yeah, I guess so. Sorry, Twilight. It's okay, Rainbow.
Yet Rainbow Dash's hooves didn't stop shifting as every pony took a straw and looked at their color. She groaned when she saw hers.
Blue or nuts? Red,
Said Twilight.
I guess we're first, Applejack.
Rarity held up her green-stained straw. Spike didn't quite manage to mask his pleased grin at being paired with her. Fluttershy held up a matching pair to Rainbow's.
Shall we go then?
Rarity asked,
Okay, I'm
elevating
still
over
recording.
a waste paper
I'm just making
basket
sure.
in which they all deposited their straws.
No, just
That's sunlight, though.
Rainbow Dash muttered.
I think so.
Big Mac hauled the traces on his cart into place and hitched himself up with practiced ease. Though he didn't have his sister's patter, he was still a good apple seller and had brought in quite a lot of money today. Granted, some of this was down to pretty mares wanting an excuse to talk to him, but he accepted their giggly overtures the same as he accepted any pony's
Now
conversation.
focused on Big Mac.
With a few words and a languid, oblivious smile. As he
I'm
trotted
I'm
away,
guessing something horrible
a
is gonna
blue
happen
sheet
to them
bobbled
because
across
of the
rooftop
black
bordering
demon
the
clouds.
square. With a squawk and a crash, several roof tiles fell onto the floor, closely followed by an upside-down pony. Given that he was the last seller to shut up shop and go home, Big Mac hurried over to see if his help was needed.
Miss Stew?
The gray mare in the center of the broken tiles
What?
wavered from side to side on her
What?
haunches.
How?
She shook her head.
How is Derpy still alive? I thought she was brutally murdered in the last one.
Are you alright, Miss Stew?
I made a boo-boo.
She said dolefully.
What? Miss Stew, did you hit your head?
Her eyes were wrong. Neither one focused on him.
Are those black demon cloud shapeshifters? Or did Derpy miraculously survive getting brutally murdered? Somehow.
Stared off into middle distance.
Because fan service reasons.
The syllable lasted far too long. She definitely sounded like she had sustained some kind of head trauma. Ditsy Doo wasn't the brightest crayon in the box, but she was more articulate than this.
Do,
She echoed.
do, who?
Her high, bubbly voice became a low-pitched rasp.
Ditzy, I think you should get on up here on my cart, and I'll take you to the hospital.
She looked behind her and then back at him,
Are you talking to me?
again with the elongated words, an odd, almost cultish voice, again with the drifting eyes. His worry deepened.
I'm not Ditzy.
She paused, frowning in thought.
Ditzy is some other pony. She isn't seen much. Gets lost easily. I'm Derpy.
She beamed proudly at him.
Of course,
This is the word.
this is kind of similar to her appearance in Turnabout Storm, where she thinks that she she's derpy, but then
He
she's
turned to look
ditzy.
where she was pointing. He caught sight of what looked like black worms crawling all over the apples he had left over from the market. Some even poked into the shiny red fruits.
Oh god, it's the
but
black
they
demon
didn't
clouds.
seem to cause any actual damage.
What the? Oh!
A world of darkness erupted over him. As he submerged under the black wave, unable to yell or fight back, Ditsy's changed voice echoed in his ears.
Uh-oh. I just don't know what went wrong.
Oh no. What? It.
Nurse Redheart stroked Pinkie Pie's mane and shushed her gently. Tears flowed freely from the poor mare's eyes as she scrunched them tight against wave after wave of pain.
But
When
seriously,
asked,
why
she
is
perhaps
there
summoned a
the
breath to
big
explain
button
the
with the
specifics of
exclamation
what
mark
she
on
hurt
it?
and
I know
how.
it's
So
supposed to
Redheart did
signify
nothing
help,
to
but
tell Dr. Stable when
I
she
would normally
arrived.
suspect that the button would be a lot more smaller. Oh
Pinkie
god,
hesitated
not this
after
again.
the question. She sat
Why do we
down
have to go
halfway
back to
down,
this? The
her
last
eyes
part
never
was so
starting
laid
to
back and
show.
lighthearted.
Her legs
Ugh.
trying to pull into a fetal position while also splayed out, giving the appearance of a marionette on tangled strings and a very intelligent puppeteer. Dr. Stable's horn flared.
Never
He
felt
leaned
that
over a
before.
trolley filled with items and selected
Though,
one at a glance.
there was this one time where I felt like I was sweating on the inside.
He found a vein in her foreleg and drove the hypothermic home. Moments later, her muscles relaxed. Her eyes drifted shut, though she was clearly fighting the sedative. She blinked, forcing herself to look at the two ponies beside her. Her eyeballs seemed to shiver for one long moment before they rolled up into her skull. For a moment, Redheart could have sworn a sheen flowed over them, making them appear briefly purple. As Pinkie's hold on her hoof slackened, Redheart breathed a sigh of relief. Not so Dr. Stable. He worked quickly and efficiently, dabbing a cotton bud at the dark gunge that leaked like tears from the corners of Pinkie's eyes and dripped out of her nose. He carefully placed this in a sealable polythene bag and levitated it above them.
I'm putting a rush on her test results.
He said briskly. Redheart bit her lip.
She was just talking to me, and then she screamed.
A tray of food lay on the floor, a lone cupcake upended in a sad little splatter. An apple and a heap of grapes were somewhere across the room, flowing there from the convulsion started, and a flailing hoof knocked the tray from Redheart's grasp.
There was no warning.
The growths don't seem to have changed shape at all.
Dr. Stable observed, looking at the neatly written updates she had made on Pinkie's chart.
Did she say whether they hurt?
You heard her.
Redheart replied.
Everything feels wrong. She kept saying it. That and something about her bones burning over and over.
When she could speak at all,
Yeah.
the screams would stay in Redheart's head for a long time. Dr. Stable
Even
frowned.
even though she kind of said it once.
Like anything I've ever encountered before. The symptoms don't match. And it's all happening too fast. Even the head of Medimagic was stumped. His team are analyzing her sample he took from her right now.
Should she be quarantined?
Redheart asked nervously.
This might be a communicable disease.
He shook his head.
No, his immediate test told us that whatever this is, it isn't transmissible.
Magic has a test for that.
You'd be surprised what Medimagic can do.
He said it carelessly, not intending to insult, but that carelessness made her bristle. She had been here 2 years before he arrived from Philadelphia, the big shot doctor from the big city. She would be surprised what Magic could do.
You just said that this isn't like anything you've encountered before.
She pointed out.
What if it doesn't transmit in any way you've encountered before either?
Dr. Stable seemed to give her words serious consideration.
Have you been feeling sick?
What? Me? No.
Of course
And
not.
the itching on her back was psychosomatic. It was. She had checked in the break room when no pony was there to see her cave into paranoia.
Me neither. One of the characteristics of this thing seems to be rapid and severe decline.
His eyes unfocused once more.
Then again, we don't know how long the incubation period is either.
He fell silent for a long, tense moment.
Doctor?
You're right.
He said gravely.
Until we know what this is, we should
So
play it
Pinkie
safe.
Pie acting paranoid? I wouldn't expect that to happen.
Far outside Ponyville, Inky Pie worked diligently on a shrinking pile of paperwork. Ever since her father gave up all accountancy tasks over to her, the rock farm had been bringing in more revenue than ever. The fact that they had struck a seam of gems the last quarters helped immensely, and even made up for a mess caused by that incompetent unicorn they had briefly employed a few months ago. Not briefly enough, Inky thought wryly. They went through temp workers like crazy, but that one had been a crazy pony who temped on her way through. Inky couldn't say she had been sorry to see the back of her. Some pony knocked on the door to her office. She looked up, spectacles sliding down the end of her snout. Come in. A tail and flank entered before the rest of her sister.
I brought you some dinner.
Blinky said, presenting her with the tray
It's
of
Inky and
food.
Blinky.
Otherwise, I know you forget to eat. Mama and Papa say they never see you at the table anymore.
Is it dinner time already? Inky consulted the clock on the wall. Pony feathers. It was. When she got stuck into a task, she rarely came up for air until it was done. Present her with a sheet of numbers, and she was as happy
I just
as,
noticed that
well, Inky. As
mm,
usual, she
Limestone's
felt the
cutie
same
mark
joy
looks
for
like
Ponyville.
a football.
As usual, she tamed it down. Knowing Pinky was happy in Ponyville didn't make Inky miss her any less.
I'm guessing this was
She
written
heard
at the
that Mama
time
and Papa
before
never talked about her, as if their youngest
Heartbreakers
daughter
was
had
written,
ceased to exist.
not written,
To them,
released.
she had.
So
Some
we
days,
we were
they
pretty
had.
much at this
If it
time
weren't
we were
for the
pretty
stories
much
Blinky
get
had ordered,
free to make
their parents would
make
have
whatever
erased
personalities they would
Ponyville
have.
from existence entirely. It isn't right, she thought, though who was she to talk? She had chosen to stay and live by the rules of her family.
Are you nearly done?
Blinky asked. She was sweaty and dusty from the day in the quarry. Despite being a supervisor, she often picked up tools and joined those she was supposed to be bossing around. She never seemed to particularly enjoy her work, though. Not the way Inky enjoyed her numbers. Inky sighed. Almost.
I don't know how you
I
can
guess
stay out
I guess this guy probably assumed that
Blinky
Inky
said
would be,
unexpectedly.
or
She
Marble would
waved a
be a
polite
lot like
yes,
Maud.
though the gesture seemed to encompass far more than just Inky's little shack of an office.
Doesn't it make you, I don't know, mad sometimes?
Mad?
Mad, angry, annoyed, wrathful, livid. Pick a synonym!
Blinky exclaimed.
Being stuck here on this damn farm, farming
Oh.
rocks for the rest of our lives?
She shook her
And
head.
well, at least there's some adult language.
Blinky.
Never thought they would
Blinky stood up and
throw
took a
some
rapid
adult
look at
language
the
into
desk.
this, so
But Blinky
because
was already at the
so
podium.
far there wasn't anything
She
until
muttered,
now.
keeping her face averted.
I just keep jinxing everything in this fan fiction.
I know. I'm just blowing off steam. Forget I asked.
Blinky, Inky said sharply. Are you thinking about leaving? It wouldn't surprise her. Blinky had been antsy ever since that awful visit.
To do what?
She let out a small bitter laugh.
All I know is rocks. Rocks in the brain, rocks in the hooves, rocks in the blood.
She parroted their father's saying. The Pie family had been farming rocks around here for 7 generations.
Yeah,
All I know is rocks.
Blinky shook
and
her head.
protect Holder's
You know
boulder
something?
at all
I really
costs.
envy her.
Inky didn't have to ask who. You could always do what she did.
Leave?
Blinky snorted.
Get shunned? I'm not that brave. but sometimes.
She paused before carrying on, as if she wasn't sure she would say what was truly on her mind.
Sometimes I wish this whole place would just disappear so we can start over. Try something else. Somewhere else. Anything but farming rocks.
Inky didn't say
Yeah.
anything. She couldn't think what to say. Blinky retreated from the office, trotting across the open quarry back to the homestead where their parents were waiting for her.
Like I said, it's just me being
Hmm.
dumb.
I don't know if we're gonna see them again.
Above high, little black lines wriggled across the clouds.
Oh no, they're coming closer.
What do you mean she's not here?
Rainbow Dash shouted. The grim receptionist from their last visit was as impassive as ever. Miss Pinkamena Diane Pie has been moved to an isolation ward. She isn't receiving any visitors.
Pony feathers.
Whoa there, Philly! Applejack grabbed her friend before she could try to vault the desk. Let's get all the facts before we start making a hoo-ha.
I don't know if anyone notices this, but
Why?
the pony
I'm
that's
not at liberty to say you aren't family.
Oh, Rainbow. Language.
Rarity
That-
barked.
that fro-
We should let her
nah
family know.
that
Twilight
that the
thought
pony
roughly.
that pony that's pretty much
She's this sick.
one of
She
the
shook her
doctors,
head.
I think it
How had this
is
happened?
is
Just
pretty
yesterday,
much
Pinkie Pie had been
gray
leaning around her
and
table as she
gray.
was cornered,
different
trying to get
different
control of her
variations of
latest
gray.
creation. A lemon
And
tea was
now
not
I know why she's
What's the
acting so
surprise?
emotionless is because she
Twilight had
has
asked.
all the
Unsure
colors
why
sucked out of her.
looking
What
Philly was
what
before her.
did Discord
Pinkie
touch
giggled.
Discord her?
Philly. If I told you, it wouldn't be a very good surprise, would it?
The surprise had turned out to be a thick pool of lemony syrup at the center of the muffin. It dripped down Twilight's chin onto the tablecloth, making Pinkie laugh out loud.
Surprise!
Unbidden tears welled in Twilight's eyes. She tried to blink them away. Ever since she first entered Princess Celestia's school for gifted unicorns, she had really felt truly helpless. Even when faced with the worst problems imaginable, she took comfort in the kernel of confidence that came of knowing hundreds upon hundreds of spells. Her default internal response to a crisis was still use magic on it, even though after years in Ponyville, she rarely said it out loud anymore.
That sounds
She
like
couldn't
the
use
end of
much this.
at the end of a
She was
joke.
totally
How
reliant
to move a
on
rock?
other
Use
people
magic on it. How
and their
to
expertise to make sure her
how
friend was
to
okay.
how to make hot dogs?
Now,
Use
she
magic
could
on
pull
it.
off. She couldn't even see Pinkie for reassurance anymore. She swiped a hoof across her eyes.
Twilight.
And now that I said that,
Twilight
people are
gasped
probably
and
making
touched
jokes about
on
it.
her back. He laid a palm on her mane, the way he used to when she was upset as a filly.
I'm fine, Spike.
She said huskily. She cleared her throat and asked the receptionist.
So there's no way we can see her?
No. Short, blunt, and flexible. The gray mare's eyes burned in the Twilight's like a laser. Twilight turned away.
Applejack, you've known Pinkie Pie a long time, right?
I guess. Though Rarity's known her nearly as long as I have. She chased us both around Ponyville until we said we'd be her friends when she first moved here. Why? Twilight blinked back her tears before they could fall. She might not be able to do much, but she could do this.
Do you have contact details for your parents' rock farm?
Oh,
Dr. Stable was about to don his breathing mask in preparation for entering the isolation unit when Nurse Sweetheart jogged up to him. Given that she was a chubby mare who liked more than her fair share of chocolate, she was puffing hard when she reached him.
Test results for you.
She panted.
The isolation patient.
Already?
He accepted the clipboard and hastily surveyed it. Not all of the results were here, but the rush job he had ordered had apparently worked on at least some of the samples. His eyebrows crept into his hairline. No wonder these results came back so quickly. They were nearly impossible to believe.
This can't be right.
What is it?
Asked Nurse Sweetheart.
No.
he said, instead of answering her.
It's impossible.
Dr. Stable?
He raised his eyes at her.
Ink?
Excuse me?
These results say that substance I collected from her eyes is ink.
Sweetheart's forehead wrinkled in consternation.
Ink?
He flipped through the papers. Yes, it definitely said ink. One of the lab technicians had even attached a post-it note to the bottom asking whether this was the result of a unicorn spell gone wrong. There were recorded cases in which teenage unicorns and unpracticed spellcasters accidentally caused their bodies to spew forth all sorts of awful things. Frogs, beetles, lizards, tadpoles, and even, in one instance, solid gold coins. Yet, Pinkie Pie was an Earth pony, and according to all accounts given by herself and Mrs. Cake when they arrived, she had worked at Sugar Cube Corner on every day this week and only briefly had prolonged contact with Fluttershy yesterday while outdoors in the open air, away from any uniforms. He gave the clipboard back to Nurse Sweetheart.
If any other results arrive, page me immediately. Don't come into the ISO unit. I'm going to go check on the patient.
Nurse Sweetheart's expression remained worried as he pushed open the heavy door, which popped like a refrigerator when its seal gave way. There was a corridor in between the isolation unit and the rest of Ponyville General, kept clean by fictitious janitors even though they rarely had
Now, I
cause
did
to
see
use
the
these
screens
rooms.
ahead, and Pinkie
Pinkie
Pie
Pie
is
had
not.
been there for
I'm guessing
over
she's.
6 months.
I
A
think
line of
she.
4
I think
beds
she's
stacked against
possessed
the
or
wall. None of
something.
them were
I don't
occupied,
know. I have no idea.
though the covers of the last one had been thrown back.
Pinkie?
Dr. Stable called anxiously. The only way in and out of the unit was through a door that he had just used. A window on the other wall provided light, but didn't open. Instead, a ventilation unit kept the atmosphere at a controlled temperature. He had supervised Pinkie's transportation down here only a short while ago. The sedative he had given her could have not worn off yet. It had been infused with magic and was more effective with fewer side effects than regular anesthetic. In one corner of the room floated a gently burbling ball of security magic, designed to keep an eye on the room's occupants and raise the alarm if their vitals plummeted or if they tried to leave. His eyes scanned the room. And there, crouched on top of a tall cabinet that housed all the medicine for this unit, was Pinkie Pie. Her entire musculature seemed locked in place, as if one more twitch could make her fall. With all 4 legs tucked under her like that, the lumps on her back brushed the ceiling. Even those ugly things seemed to have stopped moving. She was very, very still.
How in Celestia's name did she get up there?
Dr. Stable wondered. He hurried over, Horn reacting instinctively at the sight of a patient in danger.
Pinkie? Pinkie Pie.
She didn't answer.
Pinkamena Diane Pie.
Warily, the pink pony turned her head. Her expression was one of such deep-rooted fear that Dr. Stable barely recognized her. Pinkie Pie had 1,000 varieties of smile, but her other emotions were like crayon drawings compared to the masterful painting. Simple, sincere, and guileless.
Pinkie, why are you up there?
Dr. Stable asked, trying to be gentle and audible at the same time.
Why do you keep calling me that?
She replied angrily. As her face had been barely recognizable, what came out of her mouth belonged to a different pony altogether. It was her voice, but the inflection wasn't like her at all. She clutched at her head.
No. No, 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 no!
Pinkie, we need to get you down from there before you hurt
This
yourself.
is wrong. 1 + 1 = 2. Add 2 ones. You don't get just 1. Can't squeeze blood from a stone. Can't make something from nothing. Can't fit 1,000 books into 91 spaces.
Pinkie Pie.
Who is that?
Pinkie braced her forehooves and leaned her neck out to glare down at him.
Is that her? Is that me? I can see pieces, but not everything. The pieces aren't even in the right order.
I don't think this is
Maybe
Pinkie,
what
but
have been left behind?
who are you?
What am I missing?
She shrieked.
They didn't bring all of me across. How do I know this me is really me? How do I know?
Dr. Stable didn't understand what she was talking about. How could he? It was all nonsense. Had her mysterious illness affected her mental faculties? Was this the result of the Magic interacting with her changed body chemistry? There would be enough time to ponder that later. Right now, his immediate concern was getting her off the cabinet before she fell.
Pinky, I'm going to use my magic to get you down, okay?
What?
She blinked at him.
You can't wink out. There isn't enough room up here for both of us.
Wink out. Hold steady now.
His horn flared with telekinesis, honed by years of deftly handling sharp implements and lifting comatose bodies. It wrapped around Pinky. She started to struggle, panic infusing her face, until her back brushed against the ceiling and her protest developed into an agonizing screech.
Where am I? No! 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 Please! Don't say I lost the
I'm
suit!
going to bring you down now.
Let me go!
Here we go.
Let me go! Don't you see? Don't you see this is all wrong? I'm not meant to be here. I was never meant to be here. This is all wrong.
Who are you?
Two things into one. However much you want to, the one breaks. And if I replace her, it's murder.
She hissed the words as if she had never said them before.
Won't someone please send me back? Please, please, please. I don't want to be
Just
here.
calm down and explain.
And down.
Dr. Stable set Pinky's hooves on the floor, but he hesitated before releasing his magic. She was irrational. Plus, if she had somehow managed to scramble up the cabinet under her own power when she had been unconscious, who knew what else she could do?
Code Amber ID stable.
He said loudly. The ball of security magic brightened to orange and became whooping.
What's that?
Pinky demanded.
What did you do?
I'm just bringing some ponies to help you, Pinky.
Who is that?
She cried. Minutes later, two porters entered the isolation unit. Both wore gas masks, just like him. Wordlessly, they stood either side of Pinkie Pie as he released his telekinetic hold on her. He tensed in case she sprang up at him, but she cowered away and put her forehooves over her head.
I want to go home.
And then it shifted. A ripple swept over her like a breeze through a field of waving corn. When it passed, she raised her head, looking around with interest.
I switched rooms?
She asked brightly.
How come?
Dr. Stable gasped.
Pinky?
Hi, Doc. What's up?
Pinkie Pie snickered to herself.
What's up, Doc? Oh, kill me sometimes.
Seriously, who was that pony?
When Twilight put down the payphone, every pony was aware of the change in her posture. She had started the call with ears flat. They pricked halfway through as she spoke to whoever was on the other end of the line. Always a sign of something capturing her interest. Subsequently slamming down the phone and demanding a fresh coin without explaining was such an un-Twilight behavior that even Rainbow Dash was shocked into silence. Twilight had dialed another number and engaged in a cryptic conversation that had made her ears flatten and her face register a kind of horror that made the hair stand up along every pony's spine. Her friends now waited impatiently for whatever she had to tell them.
Come on. What's wrong?
Rainbow Dash thought, her hooves twitching.
The rock farm.
Twilight said, disbelieving.
It's not there.
Huh? Applejack frowned. What do you mean, not there? It's a rock farm, Sugar Cube. Those don't move.
Well, this one did.
Rainbow Dash was unimpressed.
Seriously, Twilight? That's a lousy time to be making jokes?
Her knowledge of her friend kicked in as she reached the end of her sentence. Twilight would not be making jokes like that, especially at a time like this.
You're not joking, are you?
Twilight shook her head. She looked stunned.
The number Applejack gave me put me through to a pony in a neighboring village. They said they'd never heard of any rock farm in that area, nor any pie family. They said there has never been any rock farm anywhere near there, and that it was a stupid idea anyhow. Who farms rocks? So I called the Equestrian Topography Center in Canterlot. Top what?
Rainbow Dash interrupted.
They keep maps of all Equestria.
And you just happen to know their phone number by heart?
What is
Most of them
going
live
on
in
with
the
those
previously uncharted areas of the Everfree Forest
black
after we
clouds? What are
defeated
they
Night
doing?
Nomads, and I
Are
have
they
their coordinates.
erasing
That's not important.
parts of
Twilight
Equestria?
said dismissively.
The point is, they agreed. There is not, nor has there ever been, a rock farm belonging to a family named Pie. Not there and not anywhere in Equestria. What?
The explanation echoed at her in several voices.
But that's preposterous.
Rarity protested.
I know it exists. Why, that brute of a showman Trixie went to work there for a while. She showed us the pictures. I know that, but look, I don't know how to explain it.
Twilight shook her head.
They were all really insistent.
Rainbow Dash scowled.
Well, they were all wrong. I've been to Pinky's farm.
At Twilight's curious look, she shrugged.
I went there with her once, when her mom was sick a few years ago. What?
So you met them?
Twilight asked urgently.
Well, duh.
For a moment, Rainbow Dash's face flickered into sympathy as she recalled Pinky's frozen face and the bedroom door that remained shut even when she called to the occupant within. It was one of the
I've
few
got
times
nothing
she
more
ever
to say
felt
now.
genuinely sad, and it had stuck with her.
It wasn't pretty. Her mom didn't want to see her, and her dad was a dud. But her sisters were pretty cool.
Then this all makes even less sense.
Twilight threw up her forehooves.
Why would the Topography Center lie? The records are second to none. Those can't be wrong.
Whatever.
Rainbow Dash's wings vibrated with pent-up frustration at her inability to do anything. She felt like she had been cooped up all day. Actually, she had been cooped up all day. Added to her worry over Pinky, it royally sucked. Fury and frustration tightened in her stomach like she had swallowed hot metal that had solidified in her gut. She needed to do something, not just sit around waiting for something to happen on its own. That was not how she was wired. Rainbow Dash, the fastest Pegasus in all Equestria, did not just wait for things to happen, she made them happen.
You know what? The rock farm isn't far from here if you're flying. I'll go tell them Pinky's in the hospital.
At least then she could be doing something. Inactivity was her worst nemesis, along with math and alfalfa. And if she got into a flaming argument with Pinky's parents, then well, so much the better. She would rather argue with some pony she barely knew than explode at her friends. And right now, she was worried that that was exactly what might happen if she stayed with them.
Rainbow Dash, wait.
Applejack started.
You guys can wait. I'm going.
With that, she cantered away, turning the last few feet into a defiant glide and into the sky at an ever-increasing speed. She could almost convince herself the wetness on her cheeks was just from facing into the wind. Almost.
Ooh. Ooh, this is getting juicy. This is getting real juicy. My question is, who is this pony that's in Piggy Pie's body? Who what are these dark clouds doing? What is going on? That's all I gotta say for this. What is going on? And honestly, I have no idea, but I'm just looking forward to see what's going to. I'm probably going to assume by the thumbnail of the trailer it's a surprise, I guess. And if that's the case, then this is I'm guessing this is the fan fiction where I'm calling where I pretty much jinxed everything. But I'm gonna take another short break in between this. So, like I said, I hope all of you. No, not like I shouldn't say it like I said. I hope all of you enjoyed part 3 as much as I do, and I did, and I hope all of you are intrigued to find and how all this ends as I am. So. I'll see you guys in part 4, and as always, stay grim. But I gotta let the timer get to 40 minutes because I have OCD and stuff. Wait for it. And